Don in London. Hello, May 26th, 2009. My video is all about addiction to either substance or behaviour, or both, or whatever it happens to be. Addiction for me was about alcohol, a recovering alcoholic now, one day at a time. And my behaviour could come out in addictive behaviours too, eating, gym, health, you name it, relationships, all those things that we can go to excess. And I don't know, maybe it's just the personality we're born with, or maybe we develop addictions as we go along. And usually it's about not feeling right about ourselves in some way, that we have fear of being not good enough, fear of being found out, just fear of not understanding what is going on around us, and we feel less than. So what's it like to be in recovery? There are messages around self-prejudice, or being prejudiced against ourselves because we don't feel right, and we start by beating ourselves up. And what do we do then? We try and obliterate those feelings. So alcohol was my way of trying to find happiness on a daily basis, to, I suppose, amplify joy and also amplify separation or exclusion, because I didn't know how to cope. And the worst part of all of this, I was a trainer and developer of people, and I trained and developed people to be able to cope with life, coping life strategies. And the danger is, if we keep on coping too long, we climb a mountain of coping and then we fall off, or we free fall, because there's nothing left. We've gone too far. And for me, alcohol was one of my coping strategies. What a daft thing to do, I look back and think, or feel. My best thinking kept me drinking, and my best feelings these days, which is to get a bit of courage, faith and confidence on a daily basis that it's worth living without resorting to drink or drugs or behaviour in excess, in the middle ground of being okay, trying to be normal. And for me, normal is extraordinary. And I went to a good meeting last night, as I shared in my last video, which was a newcomers meeting, and I helped make the tea, open the windows, close the windows, put the bin stuff out, and listened to two people, one with just over a year doing a chair on what it's like to be in recovery, and somebody else who was over 16 years or thereabouts, and what it's like to be in recovery and how does it feel. And both came up with the same answer, really. It's one day at a time we feel okay, or if we're not feeling okay, we know why, because we understand what is happening. So the AA program, the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, full of unique, authentic people, and I cannot speak for them. So when I'm on YouTube doing these videos, it's about my experience, strength and hope, and what helps me, like the literature of the fellowship, AA. But at every meeting, we share the preamble, which is on this little card, freely available from AA sources. And just before I do that, this book here, The Where to Find in London, it's got about 600 or 700 meetings in that, and I know it said August 2008 on that one, but there is a new one out right about now. So if you think you've got a problem with drinking, there's no harm in going to a meeting and just absorbing. It can be quite frightening to go there, but actually it becomes a surprise that there are a lot of people who may have faced the same dilemmas, and whilst remaining unique and authentic, this one similarity keeps us going to get some, I guess, open, willing, honest behaving, and helping a fellowship keep going through service, unity and recovery. So the preamble of AA sums it all up. What are meetings all about? What is this step program, and what are the traditions? Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And that final bit, whether it's drink or drugs or whatever it happens to be, there's a fellowship out there. And the gift is that if we can get one day sober, we can move on from that, maybe to another and another. And last night there were 5 people 1 month sober, and quite a few newcomers just making their way back, and also some making their way back in from a relapse or a slip. So we're not perfect, and we simply make progress. The danger, though, in all of this, the prejudice against ourselves, will get us into resentments. The number one resentment is always against ourselves, because we cannot use our willpower to defeat what we've become, an addict. But if we actually say to ourselves we are powerless over alcohol or whatever it happens to be, and life gets unmanageable when we indulge and cannot stop, because we just cannot, then we find that life can be made into choices made in the day, and choices in the short to medium long term about what is good for us. And one of the things I've learned is what is spiritual, and it's not necessarily religious. A spiritual life is being open, honest and willing to see reality. And sometimes we talk a life beyond our wildest dreams. Our wildest dreams were never about reality. There's always something far in the distance that maybe we couldn't attain. We still need to strive to be happy and find joy. At the same time, realism is the true spiritual path, because if we see real, it is spiritual. It's being able to appreciate everything around us, and also have joy and sadness in our lives. So it's not a happy clappy fellowship. It's not a cult, although some people would like it to be. It's just about finding our own path and our own choices. And nobody ever is bigger or smaller than anybody else. And I learn most from the newcomers about what it is like, the horror, the absolute horror of addiction. And it was horrible. So I'm learning every day. And here today, as per normal, I use As Bill Sees It and the daily reflections mainly to give some focus on what this month may be about for me. And I started discussing the 12-step program at the beginning of the year, step 1. Now made it step 5. And step 5 is a small paragraph in this summary here, in this 12 by 12 steps and 12 traditions. All good background reading. And it makes me smile when I say that, because I had to study it, and it took me a long time to realise that. The program is about our feelings, and if we over-intellectualise, we'll be back in the malady again before we know where we are. So step 5 says, admitted to God or a higher power, or just your spiritual understanding, to ourselves and to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. 12 steps deflate ego. Step 5 is difficult but necessary to sobriety and peace of mind. Confession is an ancient discipline. Without fearless admission of defects, few could stay sober. What do we receive from step 5? Beginning of true kinship with man and God, good conscience or a spiritual path. Lose sense of isolation, receive forgiveness and give it, learn humility, gain honesty and realism about ourselves, necessity for complete honesty, danger of rationalisation, how to choose the person in whom to confide, and it need not be a person in AA. Results are tranquility and consciousness of good God, good conscience, or spiritual, or reality. Oneness with God and man prepares us for the following steps, which is all about action. And in the As Bill Sees It, because I'm going to run out of time as per usual, it's all about self-prejudice. We hate ourselves for what we became. But anyway, here it says to be fair-minded. Too often, I think we have deprecated and even derided projects of our friends in the field of alcoholism just because we do not always see eye to eye with them. So, humility here. We should very seriously ask ourselves how many alcoholics have gone on drinking simply because we have failed to cooperate in good spirit with these many agencies, whether they be good, bad or indifferent. No alcoholic should go mad or die merely because he did not come straight to AA at the beginning. Our first objective will be the development of self-restraint. This carries a top priority rating. When we speak or act hastily or rashly, the ability to be fair-minded and tolerant evaporates on the spot. And you know what? We do that most with ourselves first, and then we shove it out to everybody else. It's called BS. And the most important thing is, whatever the route is into recovery, be it AA or some other means, professional, medical, family, or whatever turns you on to sobriety, we have a serenity prayer which helps us every day, and it goes, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference.